You look in the mirror. It's not your reflection that you see, but an arsenal. A row of 42 daggers designed for a job that's been outlawed for a century. This body you're in, it's a loaded gun. You're not small enough to be harmless, not strong enough to be free. You're just the safety, always on, a perfect biological machine. You were born a predator in a world that prays for herbivores. And you don't run on words, you run on smell. The rabbits next door smell weak. The class hamster smells scared. You look at the mirror again, at the weapon staring back from your own mouth, and you understand you're not built to play with things that smell like that. You're built to devour them. Your mother spends her days teaching you how to be gentle. Don't hug the squirrel so hard, she'd say, her voice tight with the standard parental terror. Your bones are thicker than his. Your father, he inspects your hand every night, not for dirt, but for growth. Claws are coming in, he'd sigh, pulling out a thick metal file. Your claws grow. Your father files them. The scraping sound is a constant reminder of what you're not allowed to be, because every lesson is about suppression. Walk softly, chew slowly, never ever show your teeth when you smile. Then around the age of 6 comes the day they introduce you to meat. Not the bland soy patties from the market. Real blood red meat, served in the basement like some shameful secret. The moment it hits your tongue, something ancient and powerful wakes up in your DNA. Your jaw, which you've trained to chew egg sandwiches softly, knows exactly what to do. It crushes, it tears. It's the most natural, most honest feeling in the world. And when you look up, grinning, you see the fear in your own parents' eyes. Not pride, not joy, but fear. And that's the real lesson. The best part of you is the part you have to hide forever. You're sent to the great social experiment, Cheriton Academy, a beautifully designed cage where predators and prey pretend they've forgotten a million years of evolution. The hallways are a minefield of instinct. You learn to hunch your shoulders, to walk with your head down, to take up less space than your 6-foot frame demands. You are a coiled spring of muscle and bone pretending to be a piece of furniture. The cafeteria is an olfactory nightmare, 1,000 cents fighting a war in your sinuses. You filter out the noise, you smell deer, you smell rabbits, the individual scents don't matter. They all smell the same way underneath. They smell afraid. Friendships are complicated. You stick with the other carnivores, a sad club of apex predators who spend their days discussing the weather and the suspicious texture of the soy steaks. The herbivores are polite. They smile. But you see how their eyes track your hands. You hear the tiny flutter in their voice if you stand behind them in line. You're a teenager. Your body is awash with hormones, and your head is filled with a genetic code that tells you to chase, to bite, to conquer. It's a bad combination, and one day it happens. Maybe it's a shovel in a crowded corridor. Maybe it's a turf war with a territorial bear. Maybe an arrogant gazelle just says the wrong thing on the wrong day. For 1 second, a single stupid, unforgivable second, you forget all the training. You don't just push back. You lunge. Your muscles, which you kept locked down for 17 years, finally do what they were built to do. There's a snarl you don't recognize ripping from your own throat. Your teeth, the ones you always hide, behind a closed-mouth smile, are bared. The fight is over before it begins. The other student is on the floor, shaking. But the real damage isn't the cut on his arm. It's the silence. The sudden absolute silence of 100 students who have just seen the monster they always suspected was living under your skin. You wait for the expulsion, the disgrace, the walk of shame. But it doesn't come. Instead, you get a meeting, a guidance counselor, a trustee, someone with important eyes. They don't see a delinquent. They see potential. They see a predator who has felt the same full force of his own instinct and crucially managed to pull back from the edge. They don't want a saint to lead them. They want a monster who knows how to hold his own leash, and you just proved that you can. Cheriton was a cage. The real world is a jungle with better lighting. After you graduate, your new handlers, the ones with the important eyes, lay out the path to become a symbol of purity. You have to walk through the sewer. It's an open secret called the black market, and every serious candidate for Beastar has to confront it. They don't order you to go. They just make it clear that the leader who hasn't faced the ultimate temptation isn't a leader at all. So you go. The air is so thick you can chew it. It's the smell of fried meat, hot blood, and 1,000 carnivores who stopped pretending. For the first time, you're in a place where no one is afraid of you, and it's terrifying. The scent of freedom is intoxicating, and it makes you sick to your stomach. Or maybe, and this is the thought that freezes your blood, it makes you hungry. You don't fight anymore. You just walk through, stare into the abyss of your own nature, and you walk out. That's the whole test. Your ordeal in the market gets spun by the media into a story of heroic restraint. You're not just a wolf anymore. You're a brand. Your life becomes a series of photo ops. You visit herbivore orphanages, practicing a smile that doesn't show too much tooth. You give speeches about interspecies unity that a committee of anxious goats wrote for you. Your entire existence, your past, your personality, your very instincts is sanded down, polished, and market-tested for mass appeal. You learn that the Beastar isn't a person, it's a product, and you're this year's new improved model. And then you win. Of course you win. The outcome was decided the moment you walked out of that market. You stand on a stage, thousands of animals, predator and prey are cheering your name. They throw confetti, they wave flags. It's supposed to be the greatest moment of your life. But all you can feel is the weight, the crushing, suffocating weight of a million hopes and a million fears all settling onto your shoulders. The roar of the crowd sounds like a cage door slamming shut. Congratulations, you are now the property of public hope. Good luck with that. You thought being the Beastar meant changing the world. You learned it mostly means attending meetings. Your life, once defined by instinct and survival, is now governed by a calendar. Your weeks become a blur of ribbon-cutting ceremonies at new soy processing plants, mediating zoning disputes between mongoose realtors and prairie dog homeowners, and giving the exact same speech about unity to rooms full of herbivores who applaud a little too loudly. You are the nation's most overqualified mascot. Loneliness is a physical presence. It sits next to you in your armored car. It follows you home to your state-funded empty apartment. Herbivores approach you for autographs, their hands trembling just enough for you to notice. Carnivores give you a wide berth in the street, their eyes a mixture of pity and resentment. You are the most famous animal in the world, and you've never been more alone. A relationship, that's a political liability. A herbivore partner would be a publicity stunt. A carnivore, a sign of dangerous favoritism. So you have nothing. No one tells you about the crushing boredom of your day. No one to see the real you when the cameras are gone. The physical toll is a slow-burning fire. Your jaw aches constantly, not from biting, but from holding a camera-ready smile. Your back develops a permanent stoop from years of hunching over to appear less threatening in photos. Your own strength, the power coiled in your legs, the force resting in your shoulders, feels less like a gift and more like a chronic illness. A condition you have to manage, not a tool that you can use ever. You are the symbol of peace, the bridge between two worlds, but a bridge is just something for other people to walk over. Years pass, the fur around your muzzle turns gray. The title of Beastar goes from being a suit you wear to a second skin, and then slowly to a weight you can barely carry. Then the crisis comes. It always does. A new predation incident, bigger and more brutal than the last. This time, your speeches sound hollow. Your presence doesn't stop the riots. The carefully constructed peace you've maintained for 2 decades shatters in a single night. Your approval ratings plummet. You're no longer the answer. You're a symbol of failure. Yesterday's hero is today's ineffectual bureaucrat. They don't vote you out. That would be messy. They just replace you. A new candidate appears on the news. A charismatic young lion with a perfect smile and an easy confidence you lost years ago. He talks about real change. You see him at a press conference, and he has that look in his eyes. The same mix of terror and ambition you once had. The cycle is starting over, and you are officially yesterday's news. Your retirement is quiet. You live in a small house the state forgot it owned. The aches in your bones are your only constant companions. No one recognizes you on the street anymore. You're just another old wolf, moving a little slower than you used to. You die on a Tuesday morning. It doesn't make the news. There's no state funeral, no day of mourning. Your death is a minor administrative footnote. It's just over. The wait is gone. The endless, exhausting performance is finished. So what was your legacy? A few new laws, a handful of peaceful years. You were a patch on a wound that will never heal, a temporary truce in a war that has been raging for millions of years, and it will rage for a million more. Because somewhere in the city, a new Beastar is standing on a stage, feeling the crushing weight of a cage door slamming shut. And somewhere else in a dark basement, a wolf cub is having his first taste of meat and learning the terrible, honest truth about the best part of himself, the part he will have to hide forever. Alright, now that your life as a Beastar is over, do us one last favor. Subscribe so you don't end up like a Beastar. And that like button is a tombstone that costs nothing to place. In the comments, you can leave your final words and condemn another soul to live through the next story.